Girls flew from the south across Mirkwood, strange young creatures to fulfil fate. There on a lake shore they sat to rest, the southern ladies spun precious linen. One of them began to enclose Aegil in her arms, the fair living girl in bright embrace. Another was swan white, she wore swan feathers, and the third, her sister, wound her arms around Volund's white neck. They stayed thus for 7 winters, but all the 8th they suffered anguish, and in the 9th necessity parted them. The girls yearned for the dark wood, the strange young creatures to fulfil fate. Then came from hunting the weather-eyed shooter. Slagvid and Aegil found the halls empty. They went in and out and looked about. Aegil skied off east after Olrun, and Slagvid went south after Swan White. But Volund sat alone in Wolf Dales. He struck red gold about a firm set gem. He closed up all the serpent rings well. So he waited for his shining woman, if she were to make her way back to him. Nedid heard, lord of the Niara, that Volund sat alone in the Wolf Dales. By night men journeyed, their corslets studded, their shield glinted in the waning moon. They dismounted from their saddles at the hall's gable wall. They went in there all along the hall. They saw on the bast rope rings threaded, 700 in all, which his warrior owned. And they took them off, and they put them back, all but one which they left off. Then there came from hunting the weather-eyed shooter Volund, travelling over the long road. He went to roast the flesh of the brown she-bear, high burned with kindling the very dry fur, the wind-dried wood in front of Volund. He sat on a bearskin, counted rings, the prince of elves, he missed one. He thought that Foldvir's daughter, the strange young creature, had come back again. He sat so long that he fell asleep, and he woke, deprived of joy. He felt on his hands pressing heavy bonds, and on his feet a fetter clasped. Who are the princes, those who have placed upon me this bast rope and bound me? Now Nedud called, lord of the Niara, where did you get, Volund, lord of elves, this gold of ours in Wolf Dales? The gold was not there in Grani's road. Far, I think, is our land from the hills of the Rhine. I remember that we owned greater riches when the couples were all together at home. Fladgud and Hervor, children of Flodvir, Olrun, Kiar's daughter, was famous. She went in right along the hall, stood on the floor, said with a low voice, "He is not very friendly, this one who came out of the forest." King Nedud gave Bodvild, his daughter, the gold ring which he took from the bast rope at Volund's, and he himself wore the sword which Volund owned. But the queen said, "He bares his teeth when the sword is shown before him, and he recognizes Bodvild's ring. His eyes are like those of a shining serpent. Cut from him the might of his sinews, and afterwards put him in Savara's stead." This was done. The sinews were cut through at the back of his knees, and he was put on an island near the land called Savara's stead. There he made all kinds of treasures for the king. No man dared go to him except the king alone. Volund said, "There shines at Nedud's belt a sword, which I sharpened most skilfully, as I knew how, and I tempered as seemed to me best. That gleaming blade is forever borne far from me. I shall not see that brought to Volund in the smithy. Now Bodvild rears my brides. I don't expect redress for this. Red gold rings." He sat, nor did he sleep. Ceaselessly he struck with his hammer. Subtle things he shaped quite quickly from Nedud. The 2 young men came to see precious things, the son of Nedud, to Savara's stead. They came to the chest, demanded the keys. The evil was patent when they looked inside, a multitude of treasures which seemed to the boys to be red gold and jewellery. Come alone, you two, come another day. I shall have that gold given to you. Don't tell the girls, nor the household, nor any man that you'll visit me. Early called one lad to the other, brother to brother. Let's go see the rings. They came to the chest, demanded the keys. The evil was patent when they looked inside. He cut off the heads of those young cubs, and under the mud of the forge he had laid their limbs, and their skulls, which were under the hair, he chased with silver, gave to Nedud. And the precious stones from their eyes he sent to Nedud's cunning wife, and from the teeth of the two he struck round brooches, sent them to Bodvild. Then Bodvild began to praise the rings she'd broken. I dare not tell anyone except you alone. Volund said, I will so repair the break in the gold, that your father will think it fairer, and your mother much better, and you yourself as good as before. He overcame her with beer, because he was cleverer, so that on the couch she fell asleep. Now I have avenged my sorrow, all except one of the wicked injuries. Good for me, said Volund. If I were on my webbed feet, of which Nedud's warriors deprived me. Laughing, Volund rose into the air. Weeping, Bodvild went from the island. She grieved for her lover's departure and her father's fury. Outside stood Nedud's cunning wife, and she went inside all along the hall, and he on the hall wall perched to rest himself. Are you awake, Nedud, lord of the Niara? I am always awake, deprived of joy. I sleep very little since my son's deaths. It's icy in my head. Cold are your counsels to me. I wish now that I could talk with you, Volund. Tell me, Volund, Prince of Elves, what became of my healthy young cubs? First, you shall give me all these oaths by the side of a ship and the rim of a shield, the back of a horse and the edge of a blade, that you will not torment Volund's lady, nor be the slayer of my bride, though I have a wife who is known to you, and we have a child inside your hall. Go to the smithy, the one you built. There you'll find bellows spattered with blood. I cut off the heads of your young cubs, and in the mud of the forge I laid their limbs. And their skulls, which were under their hair, I chased with silver, sent them to Nedud. And the precious stones from their eyes I sent to Nedud's cunning wife. And from the teeth of the two I struck round brooches, sent them to Bodvild. Now Bodvild is with child, the only daughter of you both. You could say no words that would grieve me more, nor Volund would I deny you any worse of fate. There is no man so tall that he could reach you from horseback, nor so powerful that he could shoot you down from below, there where you hover against a cloud. Laughing, Volund rose in the air, and Nedud sadly sat there behind. Get up, Frakerud, my best thrall. Ask Bodvild, the white-lashed girl, to come in splendid clothes to speak with her father. Is it true, Bodvild, what they said to me? Did you and Volund sit together on the island? It is true, Nedud, what he said to you. Volund and I sat together on the island, alone for a tide-turning time. It should never have happened. I did not know how to strive against him. I was not able to strive against him.